Hi, fourth graders. As you read stories, it's important that you be able to understand what the characters are thinking and feeling. Many times you can make connections to your own life and what you might be thinking and feeling in that same situation, and that helps you to make predictions about the characters. So if we take a look at the book La Mariposa, I will show you what I'm talking about. So remember, in this book, Francisco couldn't speak English. So if we look at page 9 of the story, just look at that first paragraph. Just as Francisco was about to reach into the jar to gently touch the caterpillar, the bell rang. Kids lined up outside the classroom doorway and then walked in quietly and took their seats. Some of them looked at Francisco and giggled. They made him nervous. He turned his head away from them and looked at the caterpillar in the jar. Okay, so do you see the author explicitly states they made him nervous, and he turns his head away. I think that Francisco is feeling a little bit self-conscious. He's thinking, what are these kids talking about? Are they making fun of me? Is that why they laughed? He doesn't understand what they're saying, and so it makes him feel self-conscious and nervous. The kids might not be saying anything funny about him, but he's a new boy and they're just curious. But so as you put yourself in the character's shoes, you can kind of understand what they might be feeling. So let's take a look at another page. Let's try this page, 25. I'm going to start right here. Later, Arthur told Francisco in Spanish that Curtis said the jacket was his, that he had lost it at the beginning of the year. He also told Francisco that the teacher said Curtis and he were being punished. They had to sit on the bench during all the recesses that week. For the rest of the day, Francisco could not even pretend he was paying attention. He laid his head on top of his desk and closed his eyes. He couldn't even imagine himself flying over the fields to Papa anymore. The teacher called his name, but Francisco did not answer. He heard her walk up to him. All right, so what do we see that he is doing? We know he's been punished, but it says he couldn't even pretend to pay attention. So he can't understand English, but at least he can look interested. But at this point in the story, he can't. He lays his head on top of his desk, he closes his eyes, and he can't even imagine flying over the fields like he always does in his thoughts, in his imagination. So that says to me that, if I was in that position, I didn't understand what everybody was saying, I had been given this jacket by the principal, but then this boy tried to take it from me. I didn't understand why, but I got punished for fighting. I might feel a little frustrated. I might feel sad. So the thoughts that he couldn't imagine flying across the fields to Papa, when that's what he always did to kind of escape from what he didn't understand. I think he's feeling sad and lonely at that point. All right, so that's the way that I want you to kind of think as you're reading stories. Put yourself in the place of that person. Let's take a look at another book. Remember Better Than You? That was from like the first week of school. And in this book, Tyler's friend was always saying that he was better than him at everything, and he made Tyler feel a little bit inadequate, I think. So let's turn in here to page 6. And let's see. He's been able to play with the new game system that he got, or the music player, and this is his friend coming over, and Jake is the friend, and he's the one who's always saying that, oh, mine's better, mine's bigger, mine's better. You should have mine. And you can tell by the looks on their faces that Tyler doesn't really want to hear it. And I'm thinking that he feels like, gosh, now this new gift that I was so happy about isn't any good to me anymore. It's not as good as Jake's, and I could have had something better. I think he feels a little bit frustrated there, and he wants to be anywhere but with Tyler at this point. Because that's how I would feel if Tyler was always saying things like that. Or if Jake was always saying things like that. All right. And so as we go through this story, and then his uncle makes fun of him, but they get to the part where there's the new boy. And the new boy is very good with the Frisbee. And Tyler thinks that they should let the new boy show him his tricks. Jake doesn't like it so much. And Tyler decides he's going to stay and play with the new boy. And I think he's making a decision there to, he can still maybe be friends with Jake, but maybe they don't have to be together all the time. Jake isn't the most positive person in the world, and maybe he should make some friends that he can have a little more confidence around, that can be a little more supportive of him. He can still be friends with Jake, but doesn't have to do everything with him. So as you read stories, put yourself in the position of the main character, and even the other characters in the story, and think about how you would feel. Most likely, that is how the character is feeling too. And that will give you a much deeper understanding of the story and the motivation behind each of the characters. As you're reading in your fiction book of choice today, pay attention to the characters and see if you can put yourself in their place and maybe get a little more understanding of why they do and say the things they do. See you next time.